Welcome back. I'm Richelle Carey. Soul Train mastermind Don Cornelius. NFL football players Kenny McKinley, Dave Dorson. These are just a few names recently added to a very tragic list, a list of high-profile men who have committed suicide. The CDC ranks suicide as the third leading cause of death for black men between the ages of 15 and 24. That's behind homicide and accidents. Black men are 5 times more likely to take their own lives than black women. During the next several minutes, we're going to help break the silence and the shame that comes with such a tragedy, the needless shame. There's also a 24-hour toll-free national suicide prevention lifeline number that could save your life or the life of someone you may know who is in trouble right now. That number is 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-8255. Now let's meet Dr. Donna Barnes. She is a mental health professional at Howard University and president of the National Organization for People of Color Against Suicide. And she lost her son to suicide. Dr. Barnes, thank you for having this critical, this important conversation. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about first your loss. Tell us about your loss. Tell us about your child.
I lost Mark in 1990 when he was away at school. And Mark was a very regular, well-rounded young man. He was integrated. He played sports. He liked being around people. He had a lot of friends. And basically, it was very shocking when I found out that he had left his dorm room and left a suicide note. Very shocking.
Very shocking. You say shocking, but when you look back now, do you see that maybe there were any signs that perhaps meant something and you didn't realize that they meant something?
Yes, I did. I saw signs where he would get angry sometimes, and he might have been going through some depressive states. He was never really diagnosed with any mental disorders, but he might have been going through some depressive states that were subclinical, to the point where he wasn't really sleeping that well, because I could call him at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in his dorm room and he would be sleeping. So he probably wasn't sleeping that well, probably wasn't concentrating on his schoolwork, and there were probably issues going on with him that he didn't know how to communicate.
When you say he didn't know how to communicate, had he sought help and perhaps didn't tell you because he didn't want you to worry?
He probably did not want to worry, so he didn't tell me anything about it or any other family members, but no, he had not sought any help. The thing about it is that the only reason he was in school was because of baseball. He was on a baseball scholarship. He really didn't like going to classes, but he wanted to be in college just so that he could play professional ball eventually. So baseball was his life. He had been playing ever since he was 7 years old. That was his life. And an advisor had told him that if he didn't get his grades up and if he got even 1 F, he wouldn't be able to play in the spring. And I know the spring of that semester was something he was really looking forward to. And he had taken a geology exam the afternoon before he had left his dorm room. And he didn't think he had passed. So I think this was getting to him, and he was getting a sense of hopelessness. I think he felt that his future was being taken from underneath him.
Dr. Barnes, why is this something that we don't talk about enough in general, and then specifically in the black community? Why is depression and suicide and mental illness something that we don't talk about enough?
Because we weren't socialized to talk about mental health conditions. We weren't socialized to talk about things that were personal within our families. We look at it as a very personal event, a very individual event, when it's not necessarily so. So we were never socialized to seek help outside the family.
Wow. Is that something that we need to turn around now?
We do. We need to, suicide is very taboo, as well as many other things. And we need to start talking about suicidal issues and gestures and attempts and completions. We need to start talking about that more so that people will know that they're not alone. When I lost my son, I thought I was alone. My community never had dealt with the issue before, so I felt very alone when I had lost my son. And so how do you heal when you're dealing with a community who doesn't even talk about it?
Now, I said that the doctor that we spoke about, Dr. Barnes, is not alone. William and Naomi Powell join us now to talk about the silent killer in the Black community. They lost their 24-year-old son to suicide in 2003. The Powells now have a support group as well called Circle of Love to help other parents who have gone through a similar loss. William and Naomi, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about your son, and if you could tell he was in trouble, tell us about William.
Well, our son was 24 years old, as you said, and he was just like any other 24-year-old young man. He was ambitious, trying to get on track and trying to get his career on track, and we thought he was fine, and out of the blue, his girlfriend became concerned that he had not reported to work, and she hadn't heard from him. So we went to check on him, and we found him in the bed. He had taken his life. He did leave a note. He was not specific about why he had taken his life, but he said that he was not happy. He said he loved everybody unconditionally, and he asked the Lord to have mercy on his soul. Caught us completely by surprise and just completely tore us apart. And we've just suffered so much over the years, and we've tried to, now that we have some strength ourselves, try to put together something that can help other folks who have gone through the same thing.
Now, Naomi, I can't even imagine what that must be like to lose a child and to lose a child in that way. What have you learned about trying to help other families that are going through something like this, whether it's, I don't know, talking about it more? What have you learned?
Well, first you have to mourn the loss. Don't hold back the tears. Initially I did that, and I delayed my healing. I realized that the burden wasn't lessened until I started crying and talking about it more with others, surrounding myself with the love of my family and my friends, and more importantly, seeking out help, like a support group where you can talk to others who have gone through the same thing.
So you're saying you have to deal with it, and you have to talk about it. And unfortunately, this is happening to so many families. Naomi and William, I appreciate you talking about this. We have the hotline up there. I will put information about your website on our website as well. And like the Powells and Dr. Barnes, my family has actually suffered a similar loss as well. My uncle took his own life. I asked my mother to open up about the loss of her brother. She did. And this is on our website right now, HLNTV.com. I think there's some lessons in there for everyone, and I thank everyone who talked about this today.